Hey, I hope that you're doing well. Adrian H here. So I am very excited. I am so super excited right now. I just finished off a regression hypnosis session, an online session with a client in Thailand. So I'm in Cape Town in South Africa, so it's on the other side of the world. And it was such a beautiful session. Oh, I don't even know. My mind is so blown right now. I'm so excited. Like I really can't contain myself. I'm so excited right now. And this client of mine has gone into two previous lives. But there was so beautiful. There was this, I get very excited about this because your life just changes. And this client had there was an entity release. But when we sometimes speak about entity release, I think we go a little bit far and wide with it. This was because everything in life is just energy. We are an expression of energy. Being human is an expression of energy in human sort of form. And so, sometimes when we speak about attachments, it's almost like, in the Matrix movie, when they speak about outdated sort of programs. Sometimes entities are like that. It's outdated programs, sort of like protection that we don't, need any longer in our life type of thing. But there is just, we had this beautiful space because what I normally do in my sessions, it's actually something called future life progression, which most regression, well, not most, many regression hypnosis practitioners, either one, don't know about, or two, or almost like book it like a separate session, but I like to just give you all of that beautiful stuff. So we had this wonderful thing where we were planting seeds, so planting like seeds in the mind, because now you've cleared and now you've healed and you've taken away those patterns and you've done the forgiveness and all those things that can have a negative impact on your life. And now we planted these seeds. So when you sort of envision, and just by saying this, I still also want to please, reiterate that these are only sort of things that you need to do if you're trained in it, if you understand what you are doing. Please just don't intuitively go and do stuff, because we are still working with people's minds over here. And the mind's a beautiful thing, but it's a powerful thing. Okay? So if you're not trained in hypnosis, don't do it. Okay. Now that I've done my disclaimer bit, but it's so beautiful. So this person had looking at the mind as a field with I'm excited. That's why I'm falling over my words. As fertile ground, and you plant these beautiful seeds. What would you like your life to be like? What would you like to build in this new space? You've released all of these things that are holding you back right now. So what is it that you'd like to build into this space? It's so beautiful. And then after we do all of that, and I normally plant in a little bit of additional seeds, almost like seeds of potential, like stem cells basically, and for those of you that might not know what stem cells are, it's still in the body, but it's almost like cells that aren't sort of programmed in a sense. So you can program them to do whatever, because as human beings, we're just really being programmed. And when you look into quantum physics, for example, which is so interesting to me, and it's a true fascination for myself and my best friend. We've always been into quantum physics. I've always been into it. And I think, for example, when you look at something like the Big Bang Theory, one of the reasons why that show was so successful, because it was kind of reminding people of the truth of who they are, of what they can be. Because things like string theory and stem cells and, all those type of things that are discussed in there, we may think that those are just sort of like, fiction type of things, but those are very real things. Those are, in actual fact, university level science these days supports quantum physics as fact, that we live in a simulation, that Earth is a simulation, that it's not real, that we are consciousness that continues to grow forever, And speaking about consciousness, so when you, for example, have an experience as a past life regression, so let's say you are me, today is July the 4th, 2021, and on July the 8th, which is Thursday, I'm going to be 39 years old. So let's say I'm a 39-year-old man, and I go into a past life, say maybe 500 years ago, and I am a young girl with blonde hair and blue eyes and, that sort of thing. And I like to explain this to people because sometimes they get a little bit apprehensive about it when it happens in sessions. So, before you have a session with me, I explain a lot of things to you. We do some exercises because I want you to benefit optimally from your session with me. So remember, everything is just consciousness. And there isn't really anything as a past life. All there is here and now. And when you look at the future, so when you look at the past, you can look at the past to say, okay, if you are unhappy, how did you get unhappy? How did you create your unhappiness? When you get that, you also understand by default how to not create that, because you understand the other side of the coin as well. But also, if you know that those decisions are not making you happy, why would you take them again? But the same thing with happiness, even if you're deliriously happy. When you can understand how you got happy, you can recreate that happiness and maintain it. Because contrary to popular belief, life is an ongoing space and we're recreating the same thing over and over. As humans, we are not really that much of an enigma or a mystery, really. We kind of do the same thing over and over and over, until we become aware of it, But so when you, for example, go to a previous life, let's say you've got a problem with, I'm trying to think of something. Let's use romance, because everybody can quite easily, or let's use finance, let's use money. A lot of my clients come and often see me because of usually money, romance, health, that sort of things, And I predominantly help you in 3 services. I do psychic tarot readings, regression hypnosis, and NLP Life Coaching. Okay. And so maybe you've got a problem with money in this life. I'm 39 years old, I've got a problem with money. Now, when we, for example, can't hold on to money, money is the currency of how this world works. It's the give and exchange sort of rate. I want this, what are you giving me for that? That sort of thing. If maybe 500 years ago, as that beautiful lady with the blonde hair and the blue eyes, maybe because I was a woman, nothing was given to me. I wasn't worthy of anything. I was a woman. My job was to get babies and to make food and that sort of thing, And I felt I had no power. So in this lifetime, I decided to be a man. And which is all fine and well, but remember with the universe pays attention to action and the motivation behind the action. So I decided to be a man because being a woman is not the best thing to be. So I'm choosing all of that from that sort of mentality over there. And so when I sometimes say, for example, you come to see me and you go to that past life as that is because this is where this pattern initiated. And it carried on through your generations. Maybe that was your great-great-great-great-grandmother. Okay? And remember, as human beings, we are really glorified clones. Really, we are really not as unique as we make ourselves out to be until we start to take conscious responsibility for our life. Okay? Until then, you are just one big repeat. You are a repeat of thought patterns, values, beliefs, programming in your cells, in your DNA. The same way that DNA determined for me to look a certain way, it also determines for you to act a certain way. There's a very interesting program on Netflix. It's called 3 Perfect Strangers that my friend recommended to me. And even though I feel that it's a little bit like, because it's 3 brothers, triplets that were sort of separated at birth and they didn't know it, obviously when they met one another, there were those sort of similarities, and some of them they wanted to be similar, but there were many similarities going through their lives, being interested in the same things, having had the same sort of experiences, having the same sort of interest. And which just shows us that we're not really that unique until you really bring yourself at a point where you say, okay, who do I want to be? And in order to know who you want to be, you need to understand, first of all, who you don't want to be, what's the identity that you've adapted for yourself so far, and what is it that you choose to be? Who would you want to be? But you can't choose fully who you want to be if you don't kind of know who you are at the moment, because, you need to move from year to year. And you cannot really move from a false point or a misperceived point to a point of full truth. The two just don't add up. It just doesn't make sense. So as human beings, we are consciousness, and from everything, and this is scientific. I remember when I first started to study regression hypnosis, obviously because I'm a more sort of spiritually inclined person, and I kind of think of myself as more metaphysical. It was wonderful with the angels and the energies and all those type of things. But we are human beings living a human life in a human incarnation with human consciousness, And so I got very into that. So the law of attraction, how does that work in a scientific way? How can I as a human being do something to make that work for me in a human perception? And I'm telling you, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. The reason why I study things like, cognitive behavioral therapy, which some people call CBT, or neuro-linguistic programming, which is NLP, hypnosis, that is all really law of attraction, For me, it's always like, but why does it work? And how does it work? And how do I help other people to get the same thing in their life? Because that's what I'm passionate about, helping others to get the beautiful benefits in their life. I'm just saving the clients, because it was an online session, I'm just saving the clients' video of the session. It was done on Zoom. If they're on Zoom or if they're online, then I can record it and I send you a video of that. So you want to understand how you work. Earth is a simulation. Earth is not real, but the experience is very real. And if you want the experience to work for you, you need to understand the rules of the game. You cannot play the game if you don't understand the rules. And, here's a big thing that for a lot of people sometimes could be quite an eye-opener. So the question is normally, and this is very much sort of like an NLP master sort of thing, but you see it more than you actually imagine. So what do you actually want? What is your end goal for your life? What do you really, really want? What do you want? And are you prepared to do what it's going to take for you to get that? Which means looking at your patterning, looking at your mindset, looking at your beliefs. Okay? Because at any given point in time, we get so much coming into us from our senses to our subconscious mind. But your subconscious mind's job is to maintain your experience of life in a relatable way, in a chronological way, in a logical flowing sort of way. If you know that if you turn down the road left and 2 blocks down the line there's a bakery, there has to be a bakery. Because that's just how consciousness works, because we are having an individualized experience of life, but we're part of a greater consciousness, and it's in that sense where if you go down the road 2 blocks, you need to get that bakery, whether it's open, whether it's closed, whether it's under construction, whether it's burning down at the moment because somebody left the oven on. You gotta find that bakery, some sort of reference to that, a tangible reference. They cannot suddenly be in a hair salon that has been there for 40 years. Okay? You have to find what you have to find until we start to change the pattern in our subconscious, because the job of the subconscious is to keep us safe, and the way that it keeps us safe is by maintaining a pattern of familiarity. Anything comes in the mind, does that support that pattern? Yes? Great. No? No, you're not going. And in that way, we can really miss out on very good things. Because your conscious awareness of life comes from your subconscious. Okay? And until you change the subconscious story, this is going to stay the same. Okay? Which is so fascinating, really. And so in hypnosis, we go to the subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind Think of it like that. So you've got the subconscious, which is your bigger part of your mind, like 90% of your mind, and then you've got your conscious mind, which is like the 10%, the experience of life. The conscious part of your mind is consciously experiencing you looking at me right now, giving you this information consciously. That's consciousness. Everything you see around you is consciousness. Okay? Whereas, think of something like walking on hot coals. I've actually done that before, to my great surprise. But you get so psyched up, you know, and there's something that they used to say, ice cold. So you're walking across this sort of space and everybody's like ice cold, ice cold, ice cold, ice cold. And you focus, oh, please don't even consider doing this at home. But you know, you sort of look forward and there's somebody there with open arms offering you a hug. And so you're stepping towards love and you're hearing this overpowering sense of ice cold. So you don't feel the heat of the coals. It doesn't mean the coals are not hot anymore. You don't actually perceive it. And because you don't perceive it, it's not part of your reality, which means your feet are not burning. Sounds kind of magical, eh? And that is just the beginning. And that is really how hypnosis works. It goes to that subconscious part of your mind and it says, okay, what's happening over here? Where did this pattern originate? Where did this consciousness or this conscious pattern in consciousness set in? Because when you get that, then, you know, you can change that. And if you want to be successful in life, you have to take conscious responsibility of your life. You just have to. If you don't, you're not going to get what you want to get. And so this client of mine also went to the soul plane, which was beautiful. You know, she was explaining, like, you know, the dying process and the love and the freedom and the lightness, and it was just beautiful. I think I almost burst into tears. You know, I'm going to. What is some of the words that she used? It's about letting go of wants and needs and how it must be. You know, there's no wants, there's no needs. It's just peaceful. Just letting be. Love is everything. It's so pure. And so I wanted to know, you know, so what can humans do to maybe connect to a space like this? And she said, just ground. And so after the session, I was asking this person, like, you know, are you into grounding? She's like, I don't know what grounding is, you know. Amazing. I'm like, what is your name? She's like, I've got lots of names. She was speaking about expanding light. Light sort of expanding outwards. She's like, it's like being aware of being this light expanding outwards and being aware of being a twinkling star. You know, she was speaking about how as human beings, we're not forced to come to Earth. We don't have to come here, you know, which really goes in line with something that I've been saying for so long, is that sometimes the lessons that we need to come to Earth with, you know, maybe it's just to chill, maybe just to enjoy, maybe to learn a different way of living. It doesn't have to be all these horrible things that we did in the past that we need to be forgiven for. Because sometimes I see clients coming to me and, you know, as they're stepping through my door, they've got it in their mind. Negative entities, dark entities attached to me, need to be released, need to be purged. But sometimes that is not the case. Okay? And that's the beauty of life, and that's the beauty of regression hypnosis, which is, I don't even know how to put it into words. It is, I think, one of the most beautiful. I don't have the words. I really don't have the words. It's one of the most wonderful gifts that you can actually give to yourself or to give to someone else. It changes your life. Will you still have problems afterwards? Yes, because life is ever evolving. As you evolve, you create new things. We are literally, the future literally doesn't exist. Time doesn't exist. When you study astrology, it blew my mind. The time literally doesn't exist. You know, tomorrow doesn't exist yet. We are creating it from now. and you are creating it from a point of beauty that can help you, or you are just living the same pattern over and over and over. And it's entirely up to you whether you want to have a different experience of life or not. Okay. Why do I love NLP Life Coaching? NLP was actually created from sort of like psychology and sort of like hypnosis. There was somebody called Milton Erickson. In Milton Erickson, I loved what he did. He was a real legend in the lines of regression hypnosis, and I learned so much. It's called Ericksonian hypnosis. I learned so much from that because what Milton Erickson did is he would tell you a story, just a story. And you would either put you in trance for that and for your life to change. Now, here's the thing about hypnosis also. Hypnosis is not sleep. It is, all it really is presenting you with an idea that your mind accepts as a truth for itself. And so that's what makes, I call NLP wakeful hypnosis, because that's really what it is. When you think of anything, when we present something to someone's mind in a way that is acceptable to them, then they're just open to it. And that is the amazingness of life. I'm going to stop because I could literally go on forever, because I've seen some beautiful miracles in my life when it comes to regression hypnosis. It's just so beautiful. It is so beautiful. But I wish you all the best. Namaste. Love and light. Remember, we are all one. We are all connected. There is no separation. It's an illusion. We are actually an illusion. But there is no separation. And I would highly recommend what I call conscious living if you want to have the best experience out of life. And conscious living is about even just taking care of your body. Because in order to experience life, you need a beautiful, functioning body. You know? It's amazing.